SLT Mobitel, the connection. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, testing times. Parliamentarians and Parliament staff to be tested after MP RAUFF HAKEEM becomes second MP to test COVID-19 positive. Let the lessons begin. Students set to return to schools outside the Western Province tomorrow as first term begins. The end in sight. Public Security Minister reveals that charges against 32 Easter attack suspects waiting on Easter Commission report due on the 31st of January. Money talks. WHO chief critiques wealthy nations for cutting the queue and undermining low and middle income vaccination supplies.
Rich countries have bought the majority of the vaccine. This bumps up the price for everyone and means the poorest and most marginalized countries don't get the vaccine.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9, this Sunday the 10th of January 2021.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
ඇල්කොහොල් අඩංගු හෑන්ඩ් සැනිටයිසර් භාවිත කරන්න. ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විෂ බීජවලට එරෙහිව සටන් කරන්න. හඳුන්වා දීමේ මිල රුපියල් 350යි.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamke Kanayaka. Now, Minister of Public Security Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara announced today that charges of murder and conspiracy against the state are to be filed against 32 suspects involved in the Easter Sunday attacks. The minister added that the Attorney General is currently awaiting the final report from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the attacks, which is due on the 31st of this month, to proceed with filing of charges.
Responding to media questions regarding the filing of charges in a US court against 3 Sri Lankan suspects involved in the Easter Sunday attacks, Minister of Public Security Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara revealed the charges will be filed against 32 suspects by the Attorney General after receiving the final report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the attacks at the end of this month.
අපි දන්නවා ස්ථාන 8ක බෝම්බ පිපිරීම සිදු වුණා. ඒ ස්ථාන 8 තිබ්බ බෝම්බ පිපිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් පොලිසිය දැන්ටමත් නීතිපතිවරයා වෙත ලිපිගොනු 8ක් බාර දීලා තියෙනවා. 32 දෙනෙක්ට විරුද්ධව මනුෂ්‍ය ඝාතන සහ රජයට විරුද්ධව කුමන්ත්‍රණ කිරීමේ චෝදනා මත ඒ කියන්නේ පොලිසිය කාර්යභාරය දැන් ඒ තත්ත්වය මත අවසానයි. ඒ වගේම තවත් 241 දෙනෙක් රැඳවුම් නියෝග මත සහ රිමාන්ඩ් භාරයේ තිබාගෙන ඉන්නවා. මධ්‍යසා පාසල් වල අන්තවාදී ගන්නපු එකට, අවියාවද ගේනපු එකට, මේකට වක්‍රව සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච එකට එයින් ප්‍රධාන 3 දෙනෙක්ට විරුද්ධව තමයි ඇමරිකාවේ මහාධිකරණයේදී නඩු දාලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද ඇමරිකන් 5 දෙනෙක් මේ ප්‍රහාරයෙන් මිය ගියා. ඉතින් පොලිසිය විසින් කරන්න තියෙන යුතුයකම් කොටස කළාමාරයි. දැන් තියෙන නීතිපති අත. නමුත් නීතිපතිටත් නඩු ගොනු කරන්නට යම්කිසි ප්‍රමාදයක් තියෙන්නේ ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභාවේ තියෙන වාර්තාව වෙනකම්. ඒක 31 වෙනිදා එනවා. ඊට පරිණත නීතිඥවරු 12 දෙනෙක් මේකට පත් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඔවුන්ට විරුද්ධව නඩු පවරන්න.
Now, the police is set to bring various officers and institutions within the Western Province under scrutiny in their crackdown on individuals not adhering to health and safety protocols. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohan has said that relevant operations will be launched tomorrow. The move comes at the heels of Sri Lanka Muslim Congress leader MP RAUFF HAKEEM announcing that he is infected with COVID-19. The Parliament's Sergeant-at-Arms said that 10 MPs in total have been identified as first-line contacts of MP HAKEEM so far, along with 2 members of staff at the Parliament. HAKEEM is the second parliamentarian to be confirmed with the virus within 3 days.
On Friday, Sri Lanka confirmed its first COVID-19 infection of a parliamentarian. And today, there was another. Leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress MP RAUFF HAKEEM also tested positive for the coronavirus and is said to be undergoing quarantine. The parliamentarian confirmed this via his Twitter account and requested all those who came into contact with him in the past 10 days to take necessary health and safety precautions. The Parliament's Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando said that the MP had attended the parliamentary sitting on the 5th of January and that measures will be taken to identify persons closely associated with RAUFF HAKEEM using CCTV footage and direct them for quarantine. He added that 10 MPs have been identified as first-line contacts of MP RAUFF HAKEEM so far, along with 2 members of staff at the Parliament. The Sergeant-at-Arms also noted that with the assistance of the health sector, the parliamentary staff is also scheduled to undergo PCR and rapid antigen tests next week. Meanwhile, the island's coronavirus death toll rose by 4 yesterday, hiking the number to 229. They were 58, 64, 74 and 76 years of age, and the Department of Government Information said that the cause of death of all of them was COVID pneumonia. The 74-year-old, however, had also been suffering from asthma, while the 58-year-old had septicemia. In the meantime, 536 fresh cases of the coronavirus have been confirmed in the island so far today. The country, however, confirmed 535 COVID-19 infections across 20 districts yesterday. The Colombo district leads the way with the daily number of infections, confirming 148. The district of Kandy, meanwhile, showed a spike in cases yesterday, reporting 111. Further 64 infections were reported from Kegol, 59 from Gampha, 31 from Ratnapura, while 28 cases were confirmed from Matara. The Kalutara district reported 20 cases. The remaining 74 cases were recorded from 13 other districts. In other developments, the crackdown on individuals who do not adhere to the health and safety protocols in the Western Province is set to continue. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana says a new operation set to be launched tomorrow will bring officers and institutions under scrutiny.
මේ 166 දෙනාගෙන් එක් පුද්ගලයෙකුවත් කොවිඩ් ආසාදිතින් බවට වාර්තා වුණේ නැහැ. එය හොඳ ප්‍රවණතාවයක් හැටියට අපි දකිනවා. හෙට සඳුදා අපේ අවධානය යොමු වෙලා තිබෙනවා නිරෝධායන රීතීන් වලට අනුගතව කටයුතු කිරීම පිළිබඳව තව මෙහෙයුමක් හෙට දිනේ සිට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ මෙහෙයුමේදී බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ කාර්යාලවල ආයතනවල අදාළ සෞඛ්‍ය පිළිවෙත් අනුගමනය කරන්නේද යන්න පිළිබඳව සොයා බැලීම, සුපිරි වෙළඳ සංකීර්ණ, කර්මාන්තශාලා රජයේ හෝ පුද්ගලික වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ සෑම ආයතනයකම 2020 ඔක්තෝබර් මාස 15 වෙනි දින ගැසට් පත්‍රය අනුව එම ස්ථානවල දුරස්ථභාවයේ තිබෙන පරිදි ඉඩකඩ පවත්වාගෙන යාම පුද්ගලයන් අතර ඒ වගේම අත්පිරිසුදු කර ගැනීමට ස්ථානයක් පිළියෙල කිරීම, ශරීර උෂ්ණත්වය ඇතුළු වන විට පරීක්ෂා කිරීම, ඇතුළු වන සහ පිටවන අයගේ ලේඛන පවත්වාගෙන යාම, ඒ වගේම නිරන්තරයෙන් අදාළ ආයතනය තුල දිනකට කිහිප වතාවක් උෂ්ණත්වය පරීක්ෂා කිරීම මේ ආදී කටයුතු අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මෙම පාලන අධිකාරීන් විසින් සිදු කළ යුතුයි. එසේ සිදු නොකරන්නේ නම් එය නිරෝධායන රීතීන් යටතේ වරදක් වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena says that measures will be taken to increase PCR testing at laboratories to 20,000 tests per day.
Our laboratory testing capacity is now nearly 17,000 per day, and we are planning to increase up to 20,000 end of January, and we are hoping to open up new 3 laboratories, one at Teaching Hospital Kurunegala, one at NHS Kalutara, and other one is Kegol General Hospital, as well as the laboratory at Colombo South Teaching Hospital. The Kalutara and Kurunegala labs are almost ready, and the increase the capacity of the existing laboratory at Kandy and MRI.
As things stand, Sri Lanka's total number of active cases is currently 6,822. Since the pandemic first broke out in Sri Lanka, a total of 41,325 persons have successfully recovered from COVID-19 to date.
In the meantime, head of the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19, Army Commander General Shavindra Silva announced today that the status of isolation will be lifted from 3 police areas within the Colombo district and 3 Grama Niladari divisions in the Gampha district at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Accordingly, the police areas of Dematagoda, Maligawata and Grand Pass in Colombo and the Grama Niladari divisions of Velikadamulla, Hunupitiya North and the MC Housing Project within the Talduwa Grama Niladari division in the Gampha district will be brought out of isolation. However, 3 areas falling under the Boralla police area will be isolated until further notice. Now, children will go to school tomorrow for the first time in 2021, marking the start of the first school term of the year. Grade 1, however, will have to wait for a while longer as only grades 2 to 13 will resume academic activities tomorrow. What's more, schools located within the Western Province and in isolated areas will also have to wait to start their new term.
The first term of schools in the year 2021 will get underway tomorrow, with students of grade 2 to 13 returning to their educational activities. Schools located in the Western Province and isolated areas will, however, not open tomorrow. Meanwhile, a date for the resumption of grade 1 and nursery schools is to be announced on a later date. Though there are no isolated areas in Vaunia, the relevant zonal education office says that 7 schools within the town of Vaunia will not be opened following the detection of a rapid spread of COVID-19. In the meantime, both parents and teachers came together to disinfect some schools ahead of the commencement of the new term. The Ministry of Education says that all measures are taken to minimize the possible spread of COVID-19. As for teachers who are from the Western Province, those who make the daily commute to other provinces do not have to report to work. The Ceylon Teachers Union, meanwhile, has more grievances, this time with the curricula.
විශේෂයෙන් පාසල්වල ඉගැන්වීම් කටයුතු වලදී සඳහන් කළේ 2021 අවුරුද්දේදී 2020 අවුරුද්දේ කෙරුණ නැති ඒ විෂය මාලාව සති දෙකක් ඇතුළත අවසන් කරන්න කියන කාරණාව. දැන් අපි දන්නවා මේ වගේ දෙයක් කරන්න අමාරුයි. මොකද දැන් සති දෙකකින් දවස් 50ක විතර විෂය මාලාවක් ආවරණය කරන්න බෑ. ඒ වගේම මේ අවුරුද්දේ අදාළ විෂය මාලාවකුත් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ සියල්ල එකතු වුණාම කොහොමද මේ විෂය මාලාව ආවරණය වෙන්නේ කියන එක අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශය විධිමත් දැනුම් දීමක් කරලා නැහැ.
Now, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena met with the outgoing envoys of the Seychelles and Thailand, where matters of bilateral interest were discussed. During the meeting with the High Commissioner of Seychelles, enhanced trade cooperation, maritime security, human trafficking, drug smuggling and transnational crime were discussed, with the Foreign Minister promising early resumption of medical tourism for citizens of Seychelles. In the meeting with the outgoing ambassador of Thailand, meanwhile, potential for Thai investment in the plantation and agricultural sectors and the implementation of the 2018 Strategic Economic Partnership were the focus of discussions.
The outgoing High Commissioner of Seychelles in Colombo, CONRAD Vincent MEDERIC, called on Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at the Foreign Ministry on Friday. During the meeting, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena expressed the government's appreciation of the support extended by the government of Seychelles at multilateral and international fora and reaffirmed Sri Lanka's commitment to enhance close collaboration in areas of trade, agriculture, medical tourism, the blue economy, hospitality, the financial sector and in information technology. High Commissioner MEDERIC underlined the importance of fruitful cooperation between Sri Lanka and Seychelles, which he pointed out has huge potential to reach new heights in the post-COVID world. The High Commissioner also apprised the Foreign Minister of open opportunities for Sri Lankan professionals and skilled workers in Seychelles in fields such as the education, health, financial and tourism sectors. The High Commissioner also commended the state-of-the-art service rendered by the Sri Lankan hospitality and health industries, from which many Seychelles WAUFF benefit annually. Foreign Minister Gunawardena assured the envoy of an early resumption of medical tourism for citizens of Seychelles. The Foreign Minister and the High Commissioner also exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest, including the COVID-19 pandemic, maritime security, human trafficking, drug smuggling and transnational crimes. Meanwhile, outgoing ambassador of Thailand in Sri Lanka, Chulamani Chatsuwan, also paid a farewell call on Foreign Minister Gunawardena on Friday. During the meeting, the Foreign Minister emphasized the importance of finalizing the free trade agreement between the two countries to spearhead bilateral, economic and trade relations. The Foreign Minister also noted much untapped potential in the plantation and agricultural sectors for Thai investors and expressed hope that these areas will be revived through the implementation of the Strategic Economic Partnership signed in 2018. The Foreign Minister also thanked the Thai government for its support at international forums such as the UNHRC and BIMSTEC. The Thai ambassador assured her government's utmost support for Sri Lanka during its BIMSTEC chairmanship.
We will see you on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching First at Night. Now, a section of the archaeological grounds of Mahahurulava in the Galkiriyagama police area within the Palagala Divisional Secretariat Division in Anuradhapura had been bulldozed. Various ruins at the site, including what is considered to be a pagoda, have been destroyed as a result. Locals say that a person who leased the land for cultivation purposes had cleared the area. After the officials of the Department of Wildlife notifying the police of the incident, the driver of the bulldozer was arrested. In the meantime, the ruins with archaeological value at the cave temple of Agalle, which falls under the jurisdiction of the Varakapola Divisional Secretariat, have been vandalized by some people over a period of time. The chief incumbent of the temple and the locals expressed concern over the temple, pointing to a rock quarry located in the vicinity of the temple. They say that the quarry owner had even closed off the access road to the temple. State Minister of National Heritage, Performing Arts and Rural Arts Promotion, Vidura Vikramanayake, who arrived at the scene, instructed those present to take necessary legal action over the vandalism. The police urge members of the public to take more care with their privacy details of email and social media accounts. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana says that a trend has been observed where Nigerian nationals arriving in the country on tourist visa prey on unsuspecting public committing white-collar crimes. He said that 24 such scammers have been arrested in recent times, with 2 being apprehended yesterday.
පුද්ගලයන් දෙදෙනෙක් පස්නාහිර බුද්ධි කොට්ටාශය මගින් ගල්කිස්ස ප්‍රදේශයේදී අත්අඩංගුවටගෙන තිබෙනවා. මොවුන් වීසා නොමැතිව මෙරටදී රැඳී සිටියේදී අත්අඩංගුවට ගනු ලැබුවේ. මෙරට සංචාරක වීසා මත මෙරටට පැමිණෙන නයිජීරියානු ජාතිකයින් විසින් මෙරට පුද්ගලයින්ගේ විද්‍යුත් තැපෑල ඒ වගේම සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ජාලා ගිණුම් සොයාගෙන ඒ හරහා විවිධාකාරයේ සුදු කරපටි අපරාධ සිදු කිරීමේ ප්‍රවණතාවයක් රට තුළ දක්නට ලැබෙනවා. ඔබේ උපන්දිනය දවසේ ඒ වගේම ඔබේ විවාහ සංවත්සරය දවසේ විවාහ මංගල්‍ය දිනේදී ඔබට විවිධාකාරයේ ඇමතුම් එසේත් නැතිනම් SMS පණිවිඩ නැත්නම් Viber WhatsApp හෝ මුහුණු පොතේ පණිවිඩ ලැබෙන්නට පුළුවන්. මේන් සඳහන් වෙන්නේ ඔබට සුබ පැතුමක් සමගම යම් ත්‍යාගයක් ලැබී ඇති බවට. එම ත්‍යාගය ඉතා වටිනා විශාල මුදලකට මිල කරනවා. ඒ වගේම වටිනා ත්‍යාගයක් බවට සඳහන් වෙනවා. එය ලබා ගැනීමට ඊට වඩා අඩු මුදලක් ඔබට තැන්පත් කරන ලෙසට මේ මගින් ලැබෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම ඔබ ලොතරැයි දිනුමක් දිනාගෙන ඇති බවට සමහර විට දන්වනවා. මේ කිසිවකට රැවටෙන්නට එපා. විශේෂයෙන්ම ලංකාවේ රැඳී සිටින නයිජීරියානු ජාතිකයින් මෙවැනි ක්‍රියාවල් නිරත වන බවට වාර්තා වෙනවා. එවැනි පුද්ගලයන් 24 දෙනෙක් පමණ මෑත කාලය තුල අත්අඩංගුවටගෙන තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඔවුන් ඉතා ඉක්මනින් මෙරටින් පිටුවහල් කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට ආරක්ෂක අංශ ඒ වගේම ආගමන විගමන බලධාරීන් කටයුතු කරමින් පවතිනවා. සමහර විට ඔබගේ ඊමේල් තැපෑලට ඔබගේ ගිණුමට ඔවුන් අනවසරයෙන් මේ වන විටත් ඇතුළු වෙලා ඉන්නට පුළුවන්. ඔබ අන්තර්ජාලය හරහා මුදල් ගනුදෙනු කරනවා නම් ඒ සෑම විටම ප්‍රවේශ සම්මාන සමහර වෙලාවට ඔබේ ගිණුමේ ඔබ සඳහන් කර මුදලට වඩා වැඩි මුදලක් වෙනත් ගිණුමකට ඔවුන් තැන්පත් කර ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් තිබෙනවා. මේ නිසා මේ නිරන්තරයෙන් මේ ගැන අවධානයෙන් සිටින ලෙස ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. මෙම අත්අඩංගුවටගත් නයිජීරියානු ජාතිකයින් අධිකරණය වෙත ඉදිරිපත් කර ඔවුන් මෙරටින් පිටුවහල් කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගැනීමට නියමිතව තිබෙනවා.
Naval personnel of the Northern Command have prevented another load of Kerala cannabis from hitting the streets. In an operation off the northern coast, a Navy patrol boat intercepted a dinghy travelling at high speed towards the Thondamanaru area and detained 2 suspects along with a stock of 124 kilograms of Kerala cannabis. Meanwhile, the Navy has also detained 9 Indian fishermen for poaching in Sri Lankan waters near Delph Island.
The Sri Lanka Navy has seized a boat and detained 2 suspects in the northern seas attempting to smuggle another load of narcotics into the country. In a special operation conducted by the Navy's Northern Command in the seas north of Mailaddi in Kankesanture, naval personnel were able to seize the boat along with 124 kilograms of Kerala cannabis. According to Navy sources, naval personnel on patrol in the area had detected a suspicious dinghy travelling at high speed towards the Thondamanaru area. When given chase, the vessel's crew had been spotted jettisoning several sacks overboard. Subsequently, the dinghy was intercepted and 2 suspects aboard were taken into custody. During a search operation, the Navy was able to recover 4 sacks thrown overboard, which contained 124 kilograms of Kerala cannabis. The Navy says that the operation was carried out in strict adherence with COVID-19 preventive guidelines. The suspects have been identified as residents of Nelliyadi and Velvetiture, aged 27 and 31. They are being detained by the Navy until they are handed over to the police for legal action. Meanwhile, the stock of Kerala cannabis and the dinghy were handed over to the Kankesanture police for investigations. The Navy says that it will remain vigilant and continue to conduct similar operations in the country's territorial waters to prevent all forms of illegal activity. Meanwhile, in another operation, the Navy arrested 9 Indian fishermen and seized their boat for illegally fishing in Sri Lankan territorial waters near Delph Island today. The Sri Lankan government has had long-standing issues with Indian fishermen straying into and poaching in Sri Lankan waters, which depletes the catches of local fishermen. As in the many dozens of similar incidents, the 9 Indian fishermen will be detained before facing legal action in local courts.
We will see you shortly. Bear with us. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Head of Research at First Capital, Dimantha Matthews, says that slowness witnessed last week at the Colombo Stock Exchange could continue this week as well due to overall profit-taking. However, he added that optimism too could be expected as the current uptrend continues.
Looking at the upcoming week, we saw a bit of slowness in some of the speculative counters over the last day of the last week. And in the upcoming week, we feel that this slowness may prevail a bit longer because there could be a bit of profit taking in the overall market. The market has been on a bull run, on a continuous uptrend, especially if the retail favorite counters slow down. However, considering the current bullish sentiment and the positivity attached to some of the other retail favorite counters, we feel that there could be a uptrend if the slowness in those counters does not prevail. So there could be a continued uptrend in the market as well, provided the slowness of these counters don't materialize. In addition to that, we have also experienced that there has been a lower buying interest in the blue chip counters. So because of that, we feel that buying interest in the blue chip counters is unlikely to materialize.
With vaccination campaigns in full gear in countries such as Britain, where so far around 2 million people have received the jab, in some countries such as South Africa, hospitals are struggling to cope with a surge in cases of the new virus variant. Meanwhile, Pope Francis, who is expected to receive his vaccination next week, has called on everyone to get the shot on ethical grounds in order to protect not only their lives, but more importantly, the lives of others.
Britain has now given around 2 million people a COVID-19 vaccination, Health Secretary Matt Hancock said today, ahead of a ramp-up in the rollout of the shots on Monday. Britain is aiming to vaccinate around 14 million people by the middle of February, comprising over 70s, the clinically vulnerable, and health and social care workers. Meanwhile, local authorities announced today that North China's Hebei province, which has been hit by a cluster of coronavirus infections recently, reported 40 new locally transmitted confirmed COVID-19 cases. Officials say that the outbreak scale shows no sign of expanding, but further infections could not be ruled out. Meanwhile, in South Africa, medical resources have been hemorrhaged in hospitals in the Western Cape province as the country is grappling with surge in COVID-19 cases. The sharp increase is widely believed to have been driven by a new coronavirus variant, which scientists say is much more transmissible than the one first detected. In the meantime, Pope Francis said yesterday that he plans to be vaccinated against COVID-19 as early as next week and urged everyone to get a shot to protect not only their own lives but those of others. The Pope said in an interview with a local media outlet that he believes that everyone should take the vaccine as it is an ethical choice because people are gambling with their health, their lives, and with the lives of others.
Head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, is critical of rich countries for cutting the COVID-19 vaccine queue and striking bilateral deals with manufacturers. At a media briefing in Geneva, he expressed concern over what he called the clear problem of low and middle-income countries not receiving supplies of vaccines.
This is where the current challenge is. At present, 42 countries are rolling out safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines. 36 of these are high-income countries and 6 are middle-income countries. So there is a clear problem that low and most middle-income countries are not receiving the vaccine yet. At the outset, rich countries have bought up the majority of the supply of multiple vaccines. Now, we're also seeing both high and middle-income countries that are part of COVAX making additional bilateral deals. This potentially bumps up the price for everyone and means high-risk people in the poorest and most marginalized countries don't get the vaccine. And some companies and countries have not submitted critical data, which we need to issue emergency use listings, which blocks the whole system of procurement and delivery. Vaccine nationalism hurts us all and is self-defeating. Going forward, I want to see manufacturers prioritize supply and roll out through COVAX. I urge countries that have contracted more vaccines than they will need and are controlling the global supply to also donate and release them to COVAX immediately, which is ready today to roll out them out quickly. And I urge countries and manufacturers to stop making bilateral deals at the expense of COVAX. No country is exceptional and should cut the queue and vaccinate all their population while some remain with no supply of the vaccine.
Indonesian divers today retrieved suspected pieces of a Sriwijaya Air jet that crashed into the sea shortly after takeoff from the capital, Jakarta. Footage from local network TV1 showed that rescuers brought a round object from the sea floor scattered with debris. The Boeing 737-500 with 62 passengers and crew had headed to Pontianak in West Kalimantan before it disappeared from radar screens yesterday, 4 minutes after takeoff. Indonesian authorities said that they have detected signals that could come from a flight recorder of the jet, and human body parts too have been retrieved. With a massive search and a rescue mission underway, there were no immediate clues on what may have caused the jet's sudden descent. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.